dreaming in the dark. We are nothing more than dust. Search but you stay lost. We are reaching for the stars, but we're making this too hard. And I wonder where you are. Mysterious, that's the part you always show. 'Cause you're too curious. Maybe you should take it slow. Mysterious, that's the part you always show. 'Cause you're too curious. Maybe you should take it slow. We're dreaming in the dark. We are nothing more than dust. You search but you stay lost. We're reaching for the stars. We're making this too hard. And I wonder where you are. Mysterious, that's the part you always show. 'Cause you're too curious. Maybe you should take it slow. Mysterious, that's the part you always show. 'Cause you're too curious. Maybe you should take it slow.
All right, all right, all right. How's everybody doing this evening? My name is 12 Gauge and welcome to my channel. This is your first time here. I hope that you find something interest you, something that makes you go, and something that makes you to keep coming back. Take these things off. All right. You know, that music gets you going and then you just don't. You want to forget about the live and you just want to sit there and jam, you know? Anyways, I thought I'd get on here and I'd talk a little bit about gunplay because that seems to be a big problem all over the US, all over. It seems to be like people are just flocking to weapons that have no reason, rhyme to have them. I mean, I'm not anti-weapon. I am all about owning a weapon, you know, being able to protect yourself and your families and everybody else from vermin to all the way to people that break into your home, you know, people that threaten your safety. But, you know, there's some kids that, for whatever reason, they're living the thug life, as they say, and they have no conscience when it comes to another person's belongings, another person's house, another individual's life. And I don't even really realize I don't even think they know the consequence of killing somebody, that you don't just wake back up and get to start the game again. So, those of you that are in the chat, PKC, Aquarius, and hopefully some more people come in here, do y'all have an issue with guns and teenagers shooting up the city, shooting up things, or is it just around where I'm at? Have y'all had shootings anywhere near you, whether it be in schools, whether it be in malls, whether it be um, at the movie theaters. I mean, no place is immune to this, and that's sad. Hey, Jim, thank you for being here. Let me let y'all look at my stop sign. What do y'all think about that? It comes in different colors, different things. So let's get um, let's get this started. Let's start this video footage and see what it does. Here we go. I guess it doesn't have sound. So there's the guitar case, backpack. Let's stop it right there. Most of the time we Jim says gunplay's become a pandemic in this country. Gunplay, young people don't know how to take an ass whooping no more. And you're right. You're right. Look at that hole that gun blew in that door. You ask yourself, what does somebody need a weapon that aggressive, not only to be carrying into a school to harm people? How did they get such a weapon? Because I can tell you, not all weapons blow a hole in a door that big. I'm no gun specialist, but I would believe that not all guns blow a hole in a door that big. Wouldn't y'all think that pretty big hole in that door? Tell me what you think. Is it a big size hole or am I just exaggerating? I don't know if that's the entrance or the exit, because usually the entrance is a little smaller than the exit. So this looks like the exit because it has some of the wood chipped away at it. Like I said, I'm no gun expert, but it just amazes me at how that weapon blew that big of a hole in the door. There's the same door that is the classroom door. There's part of the shell casing. It says school resource duty Jim Long and multiple members of the school staff and administration responded to the second floor of Building 1 to the sound of an explosion. Deputy Long's body camera began recording when he and school staff first arrived at classroom 212.
Right here. Hold on. Secure. What the hell is that?
Who was that?
996 Baron. 996 Baron. I think it was a signal 35. If you could send me signal 55, C hallway. Hey, lock this school down. Where's who was it? What happened? What happened? 996 Baron. I have a shotgun in the hallway laying on the ground. Did we lock the school down? Lock the school down now.
Somebody said McManus has the kid.
Huh?
McManus has the kid.
Where?
I'm no expert, but I believe that this kind of confusion is part of the reason that people get shot. It's because of all the inconsistencies of what's going on at the time, and people just don't know what to do. You see that one kid standing in the doorway, and he's asking, "Did you lock the school down? Did you lock the school down?" Hardly anybody's they're not answering questions. He's asking these questions. He's telling people to lock the school down. People are like not even moving. It's almost like they're in shock, fight or flight.
Hey, you stay right there.
Said administrator began opening locked classroom doors for Deputy Long, who was working 2 radio channels. Deputy Long also has his gun drawn.
Open the door. Ain't nobody in there.
Building 11 is clear. That's where I was. X-ray 996 on channel 2.
Down on the ground.
X-ray 1 to where? 51 out 51.
What the hell? Put your hands behind your back. Everyone out. Okay, stop right there. Stop right there. Who is he?
He's the shooter. He shot through the door, but he doesn't know which room.
996 Baron. I have one in custody. They're saying he's a shooter.
He's by himself.
Did anyone see him?
No, he was outside. He came down.
Do you go to this school?
I used to, sir.
What the?
Mental illness, sir.
All right, go. Out. Everyone out. Hey, keep them right there. 996 Baron. I got one in custody. He's saying he's the shooter. D hallway upstairs room. What room are we in?
D229.
D229. The signal 0 is still in the hallway.
Room D229 upstairs for the responding unit. Room D229 upstairs. Signal 0 is still in the hallway.
10-4 looks like they locked all the doors. Where do I need to go? What building?
X-ray 996.
If someone, hold on just one. Go secure the gun for now.
Where's that?
It's in the hallway.
So this officer has been by himself. You have faculty walking with him. He's opening doors. He's yelling. All this chaos. And then he finds the shooter on the ground. I mean, and then there's kids everywhere. If you're going to lock down the school, how did that shooter get in that classroom? Was he already in that classroom? How did he get in that classroom? Yeah, there is a lot of chaos. Just that couple of minutes made me feel anxious. But I'm thinking to myself, it doesn't make sense. Maybe they'll clarify it.
restroom.
Secure. There's another one in the restroom.
No, I said the gun's in front of the restroom.
Okay.
I'm sorry, sir.
What do you say?
I wasn't raised by the right people.
Are you kidding me?
There's a lot of violence. I don't know. In medication. 345 area. The front doors of the main building are all locked. I don't know.
Are you serious?
I don't know why.
Don't say another word. Don't say another word. Do you have anything else on you?
No, sir.
Do you have any other weapons on this campus?
No,
Do you
sir.
have any other explosives on this campus?
Sir, I put all my stuff on the table behind you, sir. Shells and a knife. That's it.
Engage.
What is your name?
Sky Boucher.
Sky Boucher, and you used to go to school here?
SKY Boucher. I used to go here last year, yes, sir. Or the year before.
Mike, 812, I'm 97 at Forest High School. What is your location?
48, right? I'm in the area, probably ready.
I ain't believing this is happening here.
You want me to look him up on the system?
It ain't gonna make anything right this minute. Do you have any idea on you or anything right now?
I left it in my car.
In your car is where?
It's in the parking lot. It's got a broken window. And
What color is it? What kind is it?
It's a Nissan exterior. It's got pink duct tape and a broken window.
Where in the student parking lot?
Only one signal 46, 10-4.
That's one that we know of.
996 burn. If someone can go secure this subject's car, it's in the parking lot. It's a exterior. I'll get you the information here in just a minute. What kind of car is it?
10-4. If you're responding to orders, if someone can start
silver?
for an exterior, I'll advise further.
A silver exterior with duct tape on it in the student parking lot.
Pink duct tape.
What is it?
It's
That's important. Subject vehicle, the
Pink
silver
duct
exterior
tape?
with duct tape on it. If they get it, could advise if there's 10-12 with it.
And there's pink duct tape on it, he says.
Senior parking lot.
Okay. Welcome, Christy, Nevada. Welcome, Rondi. What do y'all think about what we've seen so far? Welcome, Bullets. The shooter came in and shot one random shot through the door and bailed the gun. This was a shit show of a lockdown. So many kids could have been shot thereafter. You're right. I was thinking the same thing. I was thinking, you know what? He blasted through the door, laid the gun down. Was he just trying to get people's attention? Was he trying to, just say, hey, everybody, I'm here? I don't know. It's confusing. But it just seems like we're just seeing so much of the police cam video. But it's just confusing to me that all these people would just be walking around aimlessly without guns. We have a shooter with a shotgun walking the halls. The resource officer is the only one with a gun. Everybody else is holding doors open. They're walking around aimlessly. He's told them to lock the school down. They haven't done any of that. What do y'all think about this so far since you've been watching this a little bit? I'm pretty certain this is how it happens. I'm pretty certain this is how, or a lot more chaotic, I'm sure, since the more weapons that are fired. But what do you think about what you've seen so far? Does it make sense to you? Let's keep going.
What side? This side or by the gym or by the auditorium?
It's
We're at the front. We'll try to look.
Huh?
I'm not really sure right now. I think the right side of the school.
How did you get up here with a shotgun? You just carried it up here?
Yes, sir.
Are you kidding me?
What stairs did you go?
Holy cow.
What doors did you come in?
Right here.
The stairs are still-
Is there anybody else with you?
No, sir. I'm the only one.
You're the only one.
Yes, sir.
996 kid.
He's still
Or the next time you look them up there, Whistling 1153, or do you
I mean, that makes a lot of sense because usually there's not a lot of people in the hallways in a school. Most of the time, the hallways are cleared. Most of the time, most of the active shooters that I've done research on, you look at the hallways through the camera, there's not very many people walking the halls. They're not walking the hall. There might be a kid going to the bathroom. There might be a teacher walking to the office, whatever. But there's not a lot of people in the hallways. So it does seem logical that you could walk in there with a shotgun and nobody would see you. And that makes no sense at all. Officer didn't even admit there was another shooter. You're right. This officer's panicking. You can hear it in his voice.
Can I bring him down for the medic?
How many times did you fire?
Once.
Let's get him up here.
Can Frost come in here?
What's that?
Can you Frost come in here?
I don't need anybody in here. I really don't. But he says there's no more bombs, no more anything. I'd like to check his vehicle, and that's that exterior outside. Are you sure there's no one else with you?
Yes, sir. I'm not lying. I got no
We're
reason
gonna go ahead
why.
and
Yes,
check
sir.
the rest of the doors and make sure that these next hallways are all clear.
All right. Well, they're all going to be locked. We're under a code red. But if you would like to, yes, please do.
Frost was in that room and
That's where the signal 46 is.
yeah.
Okay. Who has the gun?
I assume Frost.
Okay. Okay.
He said go ahead and clear the rest of the building.
Okay.
If you're good.
I think we're good. But go ahead and do it just to do it. You can go. I'm good here. Yeah, open it up, Rattler.
Me too, Jim. Me too.
On scene, safety as a parent there threatening to ram her car if you go out and exit near his vehicle.
There is a lot.
I mean, the guy must be an adult because they would have blurred out his face. He was a juvenile. But how long has he been laying on the floor and this is the only officer? Where are the rest of the cavalry? He has them in custody. Where are the rest of the people to come round the kids out, get this kid off the ground, and on with the investigation? Where are they at?
A lot of people on the internet saying that they
Lane
were.
1153 is making
It's
entry
not
now.
me, but they were saying they were going to attack the school. So I would just watch out for other people, like lone wolves themselves. I don't know why I did this.
I think that's probably a look.
So there could be other people besides me. I have no idea.
We got the vehicle secured in the parking lot.
Oh, we'll get the other guys. Oh, wait.
What other guy?
Tango 360 on channel 3. Are you on the first one? No, they were big on that channel.
What do you need?
I don't need anything right this minute, but that's the rest of his stuff. The shotgun was sitting in the middle of the hallway.
We've got it secured.
Okay, that's all that I was concerned with.
Frost has that.
Okay, the signal 46 is in that. Okay, I don't know. This room was full of kids.
What was he doing in that room without a weapon? That's what I don't understand. He laid the shotgun down in the hallway. But what was he doing in that room without a weapon? If he was planning on hurting people and shooting them, what was he doing in that room without a weapon? Can y'all help me out here? Because I'm kind of lost at understanding this kid's motive, intent. What was his intent?
Here, we're good. We're 10, 12, 10, 15. If we have it secured.
Frost has it.
Frost has it.
Frost has
The
it
signal
with
46.
signal 46. He's secured.
Where's the 40?
He's in the next room, the very first room.
They're there. They're there. They're 10 inside.
Lane 1153, 1251.
Just one shooter.
Going up there.
Is he the only one we're looking for?
He says that there's no other people. He worked on his own. There is no explosions or anything that else is going to happen. He said that there's nobody else. That's what he's saying.
Tango 5921.
Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Is he a student here, Jimmy?
No. He used to be, he says.
Suspect secured.
Kilo 5652, man.
What's your name?
Scott. Suspect is secured. First name is Scott. My last name is Boucher.
Sky.
S-K-Y.
S-K-Y. And your last name?
Boucher. B-O-U-C-H-E.
How'd you get here? Your car out here?
Yeah, it's exterior, that exterior out there. That I put a bolo out, and they're 10-12 with it now.
And anyone in my family, make sure they don't get near me because they're very mentally ill and very not stable.
Do they know you're here?
No, sir.
How would they know you're here then?
No, I'm just saying, like, if they find out, they may get violent. They may. So I just want them, just let you know that they're not stable people.
Sky, are you sure you're the only one?
Yes, sir, but
Because I'm telling you, your world's gonna.
There's a but. What is the but?
Bad if you don't freaking tell us everything.
no, I'm saying that there's.
Why is this police officer trying to insinuate that there's more shooters? Do you have any speculation on why he's doing that? I would believe he's the only one. He's saying I'm the only one. I don't know why he'd be lying hands in hands.
Today is a day of Columbine, so other people are going to do what I do just because.
Do you know of other people that are doing the same thing?
I'm a lone wolf. There's no one else that I work with. I'm telling you the truth. All right, there's no reason for me to right now because I gave up after one shot. And I'm telling you everything I know.
The kid you shot, was he a random kid or something?
I shot through the door. I didn't know the gun would even work. I just wanted to scare people. I didn't even know this.
You know that doesn't make any sense, right?
Well, yeah.
What sense does that make to you?
It's hard to understand if you haven't gone through mental illness or growing up in violence.
So okay.
I'm not saying that this excuse.
Do you have a mental disorder?
Everyone in my family is either bipolar or schizophrenic.
Okay, are you bipolar or schizophrenic?
I've been to a mental hospital once and they told me I was fine. They just medicated me. Anxiety meds, that was it. They said I was good.
Do you feel good?
No, sir.
We have all these
So you feel like you're messed up? Aside from today's events?
You're right.
Sometimes, I just don't feel anything. It's hard to describe because no one believes me. People kind of think it's kind of funny.
All right, Sky. B-O-U-C-H-E?
Yes, sir.
What's your date of birth, Sky?
That's what I was wondering. He cuffed him and he didn't search him. Not one time. He didn't pat him down. He didn't look for any other weapons underneath him. He didn't look for wires, explosives, anything. He could have been laying on something, waiting to discharge. I guess that's why police officers sometimes get such a bad rap. But this guy is a resource officer, so I guess he's not really trained for all this, but he should be, right?
June 5th, 1998.
And we're going to start door to door. June 5 what?
Barely.
June 5th, 1998.
He's
You still live there?
I either live I got the one that gave me yesterday.
here. You need my key?
Your most recent address, what was it?
8100 South Magnolia Avenue.
All that time, and they're barely sweeping the rooms. Barely. How many? Oh, man. This was a cluster from jump.
Do we need to
South Magnolia Avenue?
This is it. So he says right there. He shot through the door, 2 doors down. Shot a kid through the door. Yeah, he hit him.
Hey, Dan, I'm getting all his information and I'm sending it to you. Okay? Bye.
And, sir, there's a whole bunch of stuff back here also. shells and knives and stuff that he apparently you took out of your own pocket.
Yes, sir.
Do you have a cell phone, Sky?
Yeah, it's in my car.
Which is that?
352 433 3037.
What kind of car you have?
Nissan.
I can tell you in my building it'd be like 12. Why don't you why don't you go check out, make sure there's no other people in the hallways or in the bathroom, you know? Why don't you do that? I'd be like, I don't know about all that.
Xterra.
Red?
Silver.
Silver. With
Silver Nissan Xterra?
yeah, broken window with paint duct tape around it and cardboard.
Yo! Come on, get up.
Just taking this west stairwell. Leave him down.
Now let's have 10 police walk by and that way they all look like they are.
What? Stand behind us. Yo!
I need a marked unit. So I get a marked unit down here. All the way
That's
up.
fine. Stand in that corner.
Another thing that I noticed about these modern schools is they worry so much on ambiance and the architect stuff. They don't worry about the blind corners. They don't worry about all those cubby holes where someone could hide and just ambush somebody with a weapon. I mean, you would think that the hallways would be completely flat all the way down, where there'd be no place for anybody to hide. There'd be no place, you know what I mean? Like, I was watching another story where this police officer got caught in one of those areas, and he went to shoot the shooter with his gun. The shooter had a shotgun just like this one. He shot at the officer and blew his arm off to the point where his artery was just spewing blood, and he almost died. But he ended up living because there was another officer that came in after him, turned the kid off, and dragged him out of there. He died twice being care flighted. But I don't know what y'all think. What y'all think? You think those corners, those cubby hole like area that I just showed you down that hallway, you think there's a need for those, especially with all the stuff with the school shootings these days? Do you think there should be flat walls all the way down? What do you think about the construction of the building? Detective John says, sorry guys, but SRO typically are not the best of the best. They're good officers, don't get me wrong. They need to do better because some communication skills and rapport building are important. Yeah, it seemed like this guy was really confused as what he was supposed to be doing. I mean, he was trying his best, but nobody was listening to him. He was saying, did you log down to school? Did you log down to school? And they're like, yeah, we did. But there's so many people just standing around. It was a poorly done job. But what do you think about the construction of the school? You think that there's too many places for individuals to be walking down hallways, blind corners, things like that, in order for a shooter just to sit there on a stairwell and just pick people off at will? Yeah, visibility is important. I agree. I agree with that. I mean, because we saw I think it was the Nashville shooting, where that shooter was standing at the top of the staircase in that room, and she was shooting at officers coming into the building. I mean, there has to be a little bit of security-minded individuals when they're building these schools, in my opinion. They didn't ask me, but I'm giving it. Whether it's right, whether it's wrong, whether you agree, whether you disagree, these are my opinions. Just let me know what you think.
Okay.
I went to bathroom just out of it.
So you've been playing this since 2013? Because I mean, we know about it.
Yeah, I know. I know you did.
So you've been. This is playing.
The fantasy is calming down, but when I get depressed, things start coming back. But I don't think about it.
Slow it down. Slow it down. Where are we at?
RCID, you think? I just want to get
Yeah. Give me your. You have a key.
A key?
Yeah, the handcuff key.
Yes.
Hang tight.
Time out.
Hang tight.
Before he goes in that car.
But I'm waiting until the suspect is transported or at least they're in the vehicle. I don't need them seeing this car.
So y'all have no thought on that, on the construction of the building? Any thought on that at all? I guess they're lucky that there was only one shooter because this school looks quite big and it looks to have a lot of blind corners where somebody could just bunker down and, just go to town. It just, that's my belief.
I don't know about this thing. Regulate.
You want to take it off, then we can. Yeah,
You're coming up front with that, just to let you guys know. Simple. If we're escorting across or not, make sure we got 2 cops on it for security. Really get your taken care of. Let's go. That's 1005. You got an intel for me? No, I do not. I've got one suspect detained. We've got a scene. We've got multiple buses that have already been cleared on the 2nd floor up here. So
Anyone ask him if anyone's with him?
Yeah, he says he's.
I need to know when the ground floor is clear so I can start evacuating students to a rally point.
Thank you.
Am I moving him anywhere? So we
Just
can
kind of keep him right here for right this minute.
The northeast corner. We have
He's facing multiple charges to include burglary of a structure with a firearm, discharge of a firearm during the commission of a felony, possession of a short-barreled shotgun, carrying a concealed firearm, disruption of interference with an educational institution to facilitate or further terrorism. He's currently being held in the Marion County Jail with no bond. That was quite interesting, I thought. The injured student is expected to make a full recovery. All right. I don't know if y'all heard about the shooting earlier this week where it was at a Christian school. I want to talk a little bit about that. Let's see what they got to say about that one. Here we go.
I'm Dee Dee Gatton. And tonight, the Madison, Wisconsin community is in mourning after a teacher and student were killed in a shooting at a Christian school. Police say the shooter also died. Let's get straight over to Jeff Harris at the live desk, and police just shared an update. Jeff, what are you learning?
Some new information just into the live desk, Dee Dee. We've now learned that the suspected shooter is 15-year-old Samantha Rupp, now who you see right here on the left-hand portion of your screen. A teacher and a student are now dead. 6 others were hurt. Police say she planned the attack in advance. Police are now combing through her family's home, already confirming they found a manifesto planning this crime. Police say a handgun was used in this shooting. A second-grade student was the first to call 911. Within minutes, police arrived and found the suspect dead with a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Now police are trying to trace that handgun.
I was getting ready for lunch, so it was basically lunchtime. And then I just heard sobbing, and there was a teacher, and she was screaming like, "Ah, my leg, help, help."
Do you know that teacher well?
Mm-hmm.
What was it like to hear that? Were you
I
scared?
was really scared, and I was really sad.
Now, the school doesn't have metal detectors nor resource officers. School officials say they had trained earlier this year about what to do during an active shooter situation. As of right now, the identities of the victims have not yet been released. 6 others were injured, including 2 students who are still fighting for their lives tonight. A vigil is scheduled for tomorrow.
I mean, that's just sad. It's sad all the way around. And here's one out of Florida. But you know, John, there's a lot of things that go into a lot of these shootings that I believe are deeper than just that. I mean, I believe that does play a role, but the kids that I deal with on a daily, they have no remorse about anything in life. And I'll talk about that here in a minute.
Shooting, the executive director of Safe and Sound Hillsborough spoke to me about what the organization is seeing. He says the young people who are ordered into their youth gun offender program tell them they're getting guns from cars.
And they'll talk to each other all in a group chat or on social media and say, we're going to go to this neighborhood and pick handles of cars and see how many guns we can get out. And they'll sell them back and forth to one another.
The organization also says the minors are buying the guns from people who legally buy firearms. When it comes to why kids are getting their hands on guns, they say this is the response they're given.
It's simply because everyone else has one, so I feel that I need to. I don't feel safe, and if someone does something to me, I feel I need to have a firearm.
As we showed you last night, the amount of minors facing...
That's what I've heard, but do you believe that that's true, or do you believe that that's a cop-out? Because, quote-unquote, everyone has had guns for decades and even centuries. Doesn't mean that everybody in America has a gun. Not that I'm anti-gun, like I said, but that doesn't seem logical to me. All of a sudden, you need a gun because you feel that everyone has one and you don't feel safe. The question I got to ask you is, what society, what kind of neighborhood do you grow up in? Because most people grow up in affluent neighborhoods these days. It's not like the ones that are carrying guns and shooting up houses and all this, or from the hood or from the ghettos or any of that stuff. They're the upper class white males that are getting these weapons, and they're teaming up with some of these other individuals from the lower socioeconomic levels of life, and they're going around and just causing havoc on everyone. You know, it's just terrible. Yeah, also, you know, it's like they have this mentality that they need to be a thug. They need to be some kind of individual that they're not. You know, I'm a thug if I can talk like one, if I get my... I think another problem is some schools, they don't have any dress codes anymore. They allow kids with beards and long hair and, you know, where people kind of click together. to have this look where before you couldn't have facial hair, you couldn't have long hair covering your eyes and this and that and the other. There's just a lot of things that go along with this I would call it epidemic, because there's a lot of innocent people that are being killed for nothing. For nothing. Let's look at this one right here. It says, this is here in Texas. And it's, let me stop sharing that one and share this one.
Tarrant County commissioners are backing a plan to combat teen gun violence. So they approved just under $2 million for collaboration to focus on intervention, counseling services, mentoring, and community partnerships. The city of Fort Worth must first approve the rest of the American Rescue Plan Act funding.
But where's that money going to? How are you gonna really combat teen violence? What are you gonna do? What are you going to do? What's it going to take for this violence to stop? Because it's not even about, like they just said, they're stealing out of the cars. As we've seen before, it doesn't even matter anymore. You can get a 3D printer and print you up a gun and use old parts from broken guns and create yourself an automatic pistol that shoots faster than any of the regular guns. I mean, how do you stop it? Detective John, do you have any thoughts on that? How do you curtail this gun violence? Because it's not just African Americans killing each other. It's about a lot of different type of people killing each other. Let's see what the consequences in Arizona are for gun violence. I mean, even if they're not hitting anybody, just emptying a clip in the air as you're driving by somebody's house is enough to instill fear on that neighborhood.
With the I-Team's Erica Stapleton, looking at the consequences of teen gun violence, how it reverberates throughout the community, and how hard it is to prevent. We begin with the story of three families linked forever through tragedy.
Picture after picture.
He's a superstar at sports.
Filling Raul Escobar's living room wall.
You seem very proud.
Yeah.
An attempt to fill the void.
All the struggles that I went through life to where I'm at now, he went through it with me. Now he's gone.
His son Ephraim was 16 when he was shot and killed in 2021, gunned down at a gas station in Buckeye by another teenager.
He was a good friend, a good brother, a great son, and he had a bright future ahead of him.
Eric Buchanan, according to the court records, was almost 17 at the time when he was caught on camera firing more than a dozen shots at Ephraim, a fragment from one bullet striking Eric's sister's foot. The shooting, according to court records, all over a girl.
He took my son's life for no good reason.
At 17 years old, Eric Buchanan should have never had a gun. But if you follow the paper trail of his murder case through the court system, you can get a sense of what led him to that moment. His attorney lays out a childhood that was, quote, chaotic and confusing.
Such as drug abuse, domestic violence, and homelessness. A lack of consistently...
Come on. You can point a million reasons why somebody feels the need to take somebody else's life. Not one freaking reason is applicable, in my opinion. You can be homeless, you can be abusive, there could be abuse in your home, there could be substance use, there could be alcoholism. You know what? It doesn't give you the right to take somebody else's life. It doesn't. There's nothing that excuses that, unless it's self-defense. Other than that, it is just cold-blooded murder. I mean, to stand there like the image showed him just standing there all cocky with the gun firing into the car, that showed no remorse whatsoever. All the issues that this man grew up with make it okay for him to fire into a vehicle and kill another over a stupid relationship? What do y'all think? You think these excuses by the defense attorneys hold water? Do you think it's okay? Okay, he grew up in an abusive home. He grew up with family members that use substances, chaos at home, this and that and the other. Do you think that was applicable to the consequence of that young man dying? Tell me what y'all think, chat. You think that was excusing it? You think, well, he grew up in a bad home, so something wasn't right, so let's slap him on the wrist. I believe that's part of the problem. I believe that's part of the problem these days is we're too light on crime. We really are. Certain individuals pay consequences while certain individuals get a pass. There's 2 individuals in our town right now that are quote unquote on the run, and they have no qualms about doing what they're doing. Catch me if you can. You know, I've talked to the families, I've talked to these individuals who are doing all these things. You know, we can make excuses till we're blue in the face. We can blame the guns, we can blame the parents, but where does blaming stop and the solution start? Because without solution, all we're doing is slinging stuff at each other, hoping somebody takes accountability. Well, I can tell you the police don't need to be taking accountability. Social services doesn't need to be taking accountability. Probation, parole, they don't need to be holding your child's hand, raising them. But you know what? That's what parents expect these days. I can't do nothing with them. They're running with these bad crowds. They're doing all this and that and the other. But you look at them just like this father, and I'm not judging one bit or the other, but what kind of life did this father show this young child growing up? Did he think it was cool? Did he want to be like his dad with the tattoo on his neck, tattoo on his head? Did he want all that in his life? Because monkey see, monkey do. And that is sad. I mean, after a while, you have to call a spade a spade. You know what I mean? You can't just circumvent the fact that what you see is what you see just because somebody might get offended. You know, I mean, what gives the criminal the right to commit a crime and we're okay and supposed to say, well, you had a bad upbringing or you had such a successful path going about you. There's no reason you shouldn't pay any consequence. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. You know? But that's my opinion. That's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it. I don't know what y'all think about it. You don't have to agree with me, but that's my opinion. Tell me what you think in the chat. Do you think we're too lenient on teen gun violence?
Positive role models, the financial insecurity, all contributed to rob Eric of his childhood.
And less than a year after Eric killed Efrain, his parents were arrested, not in Efrain's murder,
And they unfortunately were comfortable having lots of guns around.
but in a different firearm tragedy.
The other boy pulled the gun, pulled the trigger. It went through my son.
A 16-year-old relative of Eric's parents shot and killed 19-year-old Adrian Ballou inside the family's home. Adrian's mom, Latina, still devastated.
It's very hard as a mom to wrap my head around because I just ask why was my son there?
Police called it an accident as the teens were playing around with the gun. But Eric's parents were charged and convicted of hindering prosecution after hiding the firearms and lying to the investigators. Eric's father was also convicted for having a gun when he already had a criminal record and was a prohibited possessor.
Just tried to cover things up.
Records show the 16-year-old shooter spent time in juvie and took a plea deal for manslaughter in juvenile court.
How many families have lost their children because of poor decisions they've made to have these guns around?
Efrain would have graduated high school this year.
He had goals. He had it all.
But instead, his family is facing his killer in court.
Please don't come up here and say you're sorry, because you're not.
Eric was charged as an adult and in the end took a plea deal, pleading guilty to second-degree murder and aggravated assault for grazing his sister. Despite that, his sister stood by him at sentencing.
He isn't the bad person everybody thinks he is.
So did his grandma.
He's a good kid. He has a good heart.
And his mom, now on probation.
My son is a loving, protective person.
Eric himself, now 18.
You know, that's another thing that's annoying, is whenever somebody commits a crime, that's the first thing you hear about. They're a good kid, had a good heart, they were good in school, they loved everybody, this and that and the other. Okay. When did you last stop seeing that, though? Was that the 5-year-old that you're describing right now? Because the 15, 16-year-old is sitting there in orange. He just methodically killed somebody at a parking lot. How much love did he have in his heart at that point? How much caringness and how much of a good boy was he at that point? You know, I love my family to death, but I still know right and wrong. If any of them was to ever cross the line, I'm still going to love them from afar. I'm still going to love them from afar, but I'm not going to say, well, they didn't deserve to go to prison or they don't deserve to go to jail because they're a good person. Otherwise, what they did was the one bad thing they've ever done. You know what? We don't get that option. Our freedom is so fragile. You should know that your freedom comes before anything else. If you can't respect your freedom, then you don't deserve it. You don't deserve it. You don't deserve to be riding around toting guns as a 15-year-old, driving around without a license, driving around smoking weed, drinking alcohol, driving reckless. But they kill themselves or they kill somebody else, and then all you hear is how good of a person they were while they're sitting there in orange. None of that stuff matters at that point. They committed a crime. Do you not see the crime? Well, they're innocent until presumed guilty. They're presumed innocent until guilty. Well, you know what? He's wearing orange, so he's not innocent at that point. He's under arrest. He's been suspected of a murder. He's not innocent until the jury says he's innocent. So you can say he's innocent all you want. You can bring up all the problematic behaviors he had growing up. He still made a choice. Whether it was a poor one, he still must suffer the consequences, because without consequence, this is never going to change. Never. But at what point are we too far from those consequences? You know, we could send kids to be locked up in placement until they're 21 and then finish out their sentence in adult prison until, 10, 15 years later, and then let them out. What have we really done but house somebody for that long? Have we rehabilitated them? Because, statistically, most of these kids that are out here carrying these guns and committing these crimes, they read at a second, third grade, fourth grade level. They can't even hold a conversation most of the time. Their social skills are damaged. But at the same time, they don't want anything different. They want to be a professional criminal. They want to hold the bag and get the bag, and it's all about the money, and it's all about this, and it's all about that. It's terrible. It's terrible. How do you break that cycle? How do you break that cycle? Because to them, it's about, I got to get all the money in the world, big money, and I got to flash it on my Snapchat, and I got to flash it on my social media, and I got to let everybody know, and I got to dress up like a gangster, and sit there and point a gun at a screen and show you that I'm not weak and this and that and the other. You know how many kids cry when I put the handcuffs on them? The leg irons on them? When having to say goodbye to their mom on their way to detention? Almost every damn one of them. So as thuggish, ruggish bone that they think they are, they're really not. They're not about that life. But it's not about their lives, it's about the lives they're impeding. You're laying in beds, minding your own business. A car rolls by, starts shooting up the neighborhood. They're high out of their minds, they're drunk or impaired. They're not thinking straight. They don't see which house they're really shooting at. And they shoot into yours, and the bullet goes into your spine and paralyzes you. Doesn't kill you. But how fair is that? How fair is that? Life isn't fair, but could that have been prevented? If you own a handgun, be responsible with it. If you're not smart enough or dedicated enough to lock your doors after you get out of your vehicle or you don't feel like you should, put that thing in a gun safe and lock the gun safe. Because they're just going to town, just pulling on doors, seeing which cars have their doors open so they can reach in there, grab your gun, steal it, come to their town, sell it to other people, get rid of it, just to armor up their buddies. We are part of the problem as well. We can't just blame it all on the kid, but,
Accepted responsibility before a judge sentenced him to 25 years in prison.
I'm sorry for your loss and pain. If I could turn back the clock and change things, I would. Unfortunately, I can't.
The gun he used to kill Efrain was never recovered, so there's no way to trace where he got it, although Buckeye police indicate it was given to him by an adult.
We wanted the death penalty, but because he was a minor when it happened, they couldn't do that.
3 families.
It's something that no parent ever thinks they're going to go through.
Losing 3 kids.
And now that my son is going away, my heart is broke.
From guns.
Make sure your kids know how much you love them, because you never know if it may be the last time you see them.
Sometimes it really can be inherently good people making a bad decision once, that one moment changing so many lives forever. Erica joins us now. As we discuss this, we'd like you to be a part of this conversation as we try to get a better understanding of this basic question. Where are teens getting these guns? Text us what you know, what you think at 602-444-1212. And Erica, what do we know about teens and guns?
We've been looking into this for a while, and we know that more teens are dying by guns. But what some limited research shows is that there is a rise in teen perpetrators, too. Specifically, ATF shows the number of kids 17 and younger who have had guns seized or taken away from them more than doubled in 5 years from 2017 to 2021, from 117 teens to 277 in 2021, the most recent year available.
So it's the availability of those weapons for teens to get their hands on.
Yes. And, you see it more and more. This is, again, something we've been reporting for a while. And yeah, it just keeps happening. Unfortunately, there's never a lack of stories to be reported on when it comes to teens either killing others or teens getting shot.
And how is this happening?
There's not a ton of data on that, but the data we have been able to get to look at doesn't tell us exactly how the teens are getting the guns. What we do know, that's one of the reasons why we want to hear from viewers who may have had experience with this issue. Most of what we heard has been anecdotal evidence. We had limited opportunities to hear from the Maricopa County attorney and just a few minutes with the Phoenix police chief about guns getting into the wrong hands. But we were also able to sit down at length with current and former ATF agents. And they all agree right now it's too easy for someone who should not have a gun to get one.
It's not hard, obviously, to get a gun because we see folks that shouldn't have them have them all the time. They're derived a number of different ways, whether it be through straw purchasers, people who go out and purchase guns and provide them to individuals, through theft. Unfortunately, it's way too easy for criminals to get their hands on guns.
Kids have exposure to other families' cars and houses, or they know a house is vacant. I mean, it's endless the possibilities. So there's a saturation of firearms in the United States. They're easily accessible. And so the question is, how could they not get them, really?
Unfortunately, you're seeing more and more crimes being committed with firearms where juveniles are involved and teenagers, right? People under 18 years of age.
Once that trigger is pulled, or once that person gets close to 18 or becomes 18, it's a very different story that I don't want to see happen to our kids. And so I think we as a society really need to take a careful look at that.
Okay, so maybe that's the how they're getting the guns, because they're readily available. But what about the why? Why do teens want the guns so badly? What's the appeal here?
You know, I've been covering teen gun violence for weeks now, as we said, and the families that I talk to keep saying one of the same things I've heard over and over is that kids at parties, you know, they have guns with them out with their friends. It's just all too normal. And that's one thing that really bothers former ATF agent Bernard Zaper. He currently teaches criminal justice at ASU, and he shared why he thinks this is becoming more common. Take a listen.
And they're being normalized to this. They're getting normalized through television, online videos, the increase in shootings and violent crime in the US. And again, the seeking of self, of ego, and it's becoming normalized. And that's very dangerous.
We'll continue our deeper dive on the issue after the break, taking a closer look at how teen gun violence can be prevented, as well as potential solutions that could be created at the state level.
Sometimes the violence is intentional, but in many instances, it's unintentional. A tragic accident that adds to the tragic statistics of teen deaths caused by gunfire. And Erica, tonight you're sharing the story of a family literally living through hell because of one of those accidents.
Yeah, and it's clearly frustrating for law enforcement, but for families like Adrian's, he's the teen that was killed while he and his friend were playing with guns, you know, they want to see more work to prevent tragedies like his.
The holidays just aren't the same.
We talk about Adrian all the time.
His picture at the table.
We include him in things.
Because he's not there in person.
This would be the last time I saw my son.
A few weeks after Valentine's Day 2022.
Brought his mom flowers. He just wanted people to know that they were important.
19-year-old Adrian Ballou, shot and killed by a 16-year-old friend while they were playing with guns. The friend went to juvie and took a plea deal for manslaughter.
He acknowledged that he has to live the rest of his life knowing that he took his friend's life. And that's hard for a 16-year-old to think about.
Adrian's mom, Latina, didn't know the family and thought Adrian would know better.
There's no such thing as a perfect child. Kids make mistakes, and kids don't always think about the consequences of what they're doing. And it's more about the adults in this picture who had no regards for the safety or kids thinking about the safety of the weapons that they have accessible to them.
Two of the 16-year-old's adult relatives pleaded guilty to hindering the prosecution after they lied to police and hid the guns. One of the adults was a prohibited possessor and was also convicted for having a weapon. Court records show both adults are on probation now.
This still doesn't seem real to this day.
Adrian's older sisters, Mariah and Chelsea.
That's one of the things that you'll never unhear is that cry from my siblings, from my mom. It's not something that you can do to make them feel better.
Both are parents themselves.
And I never in a million years would just leave a gun laying around.
Who worry just how easy it can be for kids these days to get guns.
Seems pretty easy.
Their family wants to see harsher punishments for adults and limits on access when it comes to kids.
If you're going to have weapons, then you need to make sure that there's safety mechanisms in place. You shouldn't have them laying around and accessible for kids.
Any kind of change to ensure deaths like Adrian's don't keep happening.
I think this one just makes me proud.
Adrian's dreams cut short.
He wanted to be a firefighter.
He wanted to save lives, and maybe sharing his story and how his death should have been prevented will do just that.
We don't want him to be forgotten.
Latina, Adrian's mom, works in a hospital and sees other teens with gunshot wounds.
So what do y'all think? Give me some feedback before I sign off. You have any questions, any kind of concerns, any kind of feedback that you have on any of this stuff that I presented tonight? Do you believe that it's a generational thing? Do you believe that it's a societal thing? You think that it's a parenting thing? Do you think that it's a peer thing? Do you believe that it'll ever curtail, or that we have to really be on our lookout for possibility of being at the wrong place at the wrong time? What do y'all think? Give me some feedback. Let me hear you in the chat. Anybody in here? It's a media thing. Okay. Anybody else? All right. Well, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your feedback. Thank you for your kindness. I hope that y'all have a wonderful night, and I'll see y'all around soon. Y'all take care, and watch out for them stray bullets. They don't have a name on them.